Welcome back to the podcast, All Things Generic. This is episode 6, and I am Eric. Thank you so much for joining me today. Excited to have you along on the ride. What are we going to do today? What are you going to get out of this episode from me today? Glad you asked. Well, we're going to do our weekly recap. We're going to dive in. How did last week go? I'm going to tell you about the ups. I'm going to tell you about the downs. I am going to tell you about what went well, what didn't go so well, and I'm going to talk about what I aim to do better next week or this coming week. If you've been watching for a few episodes now, this past week was actually the week that I published my first episode out on the social networks. Not going to lie, I was a little nervous about that. As I've mentioned in this show, I'm trying to be as vulnerable as possible and sharing that with the social networks, with people that know me pretty well and my work colleagues as well. A little nerve-wracking, but the response has been fantastic. It's been amazing. The encouragement has been so encouraging. Is there a better way to say that? The encouragement has been life-affirming. That sounds okay. Maybe not life-affirming. The encouragement, it feels great. How about that? I appreciate it. I thank you so much for responding that way. Well, today, I think I've already said we're going to do our weekly recap. We'll go over what went well, what didn't go so well. Also want to get into the habit of working out. I've had a lot of people ask me over the last couple weeks about how my workouts are going and how did I get into the habit of working out. That has been a love-hate relationship I've had for years. And this is probably the first time that I've sustained it for a significant period of time. So I want to get into talking a little bit about working out. We'll talk a little bit around Atomic Habits, which is a book that really helped me get into this. We'll also talk about this idea of identity change and how if you're going to start working out, you probably need to think about changing your identity. No, I don't mean plastic surgery. No, I don't mean getting or stealing somebody's identity. I mean changing yours. And we'll get into that, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But first, a word from our sponsors. Episode 6, still don't have any, but maybe one day. Are you curious what book is on my shelf over here? So am I. What is it? Oh, good one. The Body Keeps the Score. This is about how the brain, mind, and body in the healing of trauma. So if you ever can't sleep at night, highly recommend picking this up. All right, let's dive into the weekly recap. To that, we're going to shift to the screen. All right, let's talk about the weekly recap. What went well? Well, I've maintained my morning workouts. They have been going well. I'm very excited about that. I think I worked out every day. Nope, I didn't work out Friday. I couldn't tell you why either. I think I signed into work a little bit early. Had a pretty busy week, and I think I just got swallowed into work. Usually I get up and I sign on anywhere between 6 and 7, and I work out from 7 to 8. And I had a couple I had a big 3-hour meeting that I had to facilitate and needed to prepare for that. And I didn't work out. Really no excuse. I could have, and I probably should have. But I worked out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I played disc golf twice this weekend, which is another thing that's on the what went well this week. So I got out and I did, I guess you could count that as cardio. It is technically cardio. I do walk a lot, probably 2 to 3 miles every time I play. So that's good. What else went well this week? Well, I ate well most of the week. We're going to dive into what happened when I didn't eat so well in the what didn't go well this week. And then what else went well? Well, I didn't eat sweets, kind of, for the most part, except up until Friday. Again, we're going to talk about that. Not that I want to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it because, hey, shame can't exist in the light. So if I bring it to the light, then we can normalize some of this. And we shouldn't have to worry about it. I shouldn't have to worry about it. I shouldn't have to worry about being ashamed or afraid or feeling judged or made fun of. But that's a real fear. But again, if I believe that shame can't hide in the light, then I need to talk about it. So we're going to talk about it. So let's shift over to those are the things that went well. I don't really spend a whole lot of time on what went well. I'd be curious. Do you guys want more time on what went well? Do you want to dive more into the workouts that I do? I've been creating some short videos and uploading those to YouTube. Like I have one of my deadlifts this week. Are those interesting to you? Let me know. Drop me a comment. Hit the like button. Give me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. But let me know. What do you want? Do you want to know more about the workouts? I could certainly do that. Just let me know. All right, let's talk about what didn't go so well. Here comes the fun part. Here comes the vulnerability. Here comes talking about where I struggled, which this is kind of therapy for me. So thank you for being my therapist. Kind of. Not really. My therapist might be offended if she ever saw this. What didn't go well? Well, let's start out. No cardio. I, again, didn't do any cardio. Unless you count disc golf. Again, maybe kind of is cardio. I have a love-hate relationship with cardio. I hate doing it. I love how I feel after I do it. I don't like doing it. Really no excuse not to. I've got a nice elliptical in the garage gym. I should be able to do it. Why I don't do it? There's just a mental block around it, and I need to do it. I've been lifting weights in the morning. I got my strength training. I'm building that muscle. It's good. I am losing weight. I could probably lose weight faster if I added some cardio into the routine. So we'll see in the aiming for better. I am still going to aim for some cardio instead of the 3 that I had before, or the 2 that I had before. We're going to reduce it down to 1. Let's see if I can get 1 day. So, yep, cardio, didn't do that. I didn't sit in the sauna at all this week. Really no reason why I didn't. I just didn't work it into my daily routine. That's one thing. I am a routine person, and if I can figure out how to fit it in and make it just a thing that I do, I could get pretty good at it. And honestly, this should be right up my alley, because all you can do in a sauna is sit around. I'm pretty good at sitting around, so I don't know why I didn't do it. So we're going to add that in. We're going to do at least 1 sauna session this week. And again, I feel great, and I sleep amazing after I do it. I generally do it at night. So need to figure that out. Snacking. That was actually just one particular day. And there was something that I wanted to call out about that. What was it? So, one of the days this week, I forget which day it was, I had some Ritz crackers at the house. And sometimes I can feel, so I mentioned I'm diabetic, and if I don't eat a lot of carbs, which I'm trying not to eat many simple carbs, I'm trying to reduce those, eat more complex carbs. But if I don't have carbs, my blood sugar, because of the medication I'm on, definitely drops, and I can feel it. And so sometimes I need to eat something to get my blood sugar back up. If I have an apple in the house, generally I'll have an apple. If not, then I may do something different. But I'm trying to avoid sweets particularly, so I don't want to eat any candy or anything like that. But in this case, I had some peanut butter and jelly, and I had some Ritz crackers. And so what I would do, I'd put a little bit of peanut butter on a Ritz cracker, and then I'd squeeze a little bit of jelly on it. Enjoy it. And I would have a few of them. I probably had 5 of them. Was done. Felt good. I could feel my blood sugar elevate a bit. Was feeling back to normal. But that pack of Ritz crackers was sitting right next to me. And it was calling my name. and it was staring at me. Like I'm just sitting here trying to work, trying to doing my work, and it's sitting right there, and it's sitting right there, and it's saying, "Hey, eat me. You want me." No, I think it had a more enticing voice than that. It didn't really have a voice because that would be creepy, but that's what it felt like. And it could have been. It didn't even have to be the fact that I had it right here, next to me on my desk, which you can't see me pointing. Um, right next to me on my desk. I could put it back in the kitchen over there, and the thought of it is still right there. It's like, oh, it's there. It's open. I need to finish it. I need to finish this this bag. I don't. There's a part of my brain that reminds me of the episode, the West Wing episode, which I've referred to in a previous episode, where Leo talks about his addiction to alcohol, and he says, "I don't understand people who just want one drink. I don't want just one drink. I want all the drinks." And sometimes that's the way it is with food. It's like I don't understand just a few. Like I don't understand not finishing the pack. And so I couldn't stop myself. Well, I could stop. I was able to stop myself. I took the pack and I threw it away. Yes, that's wasteful. Yes, I know. I know. I know. Please forgive me. But that was the only way. Because thankfully that's not a barrier I'm willing to cross. Pulling something out of the trash and eating it. So I found that to be interesting. Then Friday night. Friday night didn't go so well. Actually, before we do that, we'll talk about. Actually, we're going to talk about Friday night, and we're going to talk about lunch at work. But to do that, I'm going to go back to full screen. Full screen, activate. Welcome back to full screen. All right, there are two things that I want to talk about now. One was lunch at work, and the other one was Friday night. We'll talk about lunch at work first. So, lunch at work, I went to the office a couple days because I had some folks in town that I wanted to see because they were here facilitating some meetings, and I wanted to see them because I hadn't met them in person before. And my plan was to actually bring my lunch. Didn't end up bringing my lunch. At least not. I did day one. I didn't day two. And may not have day three. I think I did this twice. So, the office has a nice cafeteria. A lot of variety of foods. There's a salad bar that I could easily get a salad. There's a couple grills that will make some sandwiches and stuff like that. And there's some pre-made sandwiches that I could get, which I've done before, stuff like that. I chose instead to go to Starbucks that we also have in the office and get a venti white mocha and have that as my lunch. Is that the worst thing in the world? No. It's about 500 calories. It's going to send my blood sugar sky high. Definitely not healthy. But there's a thing for me that I struggle with, in that when I don't know how a system works, particularly a social system, when I don't understand how a social system works, I either avoid it or I watch it from the periphery until I understand how it works and then engage. But generally, when there's a lot of people around, I get a little bit anxious and self-conscious. I don't know that it's full on. I wouldn't say it's full on like a social anxiety. Definitely some measure of it, but particularly around food, when it's related to food. In other environments or in other situations like this, not as bad. Food, it's particularly heightened just because when I'm in a group of people at my size, I'm already at a heightened state of alert because I feel like, I'm just awkward in those situations, which in reality, I'm awkward all the time. If you've ever interacted with me, you know that I'm awkward. So instead of, what I could have done was I could have went in and got a salad. And yeah, we check out by ourselves. And yeah, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to weigh the salad. But there's people there that could help me. I could just ask, hey, how do I do this? Sometimes I'll make a joke of it and try to be funny when in reality I have no idea what the heck I'm doing. And yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's just it's a tendency that I have. I know it's something that I do. I know that's why I went to the Starbucks because there was nobody there. It's very very quiet, very easy, not intimidating. But again, I could have went and could have got one of the pre-made sandwiches. I've done that a couple times. Would have been easy peasy lemon squeezy. What I really wanted to do was get a salad, but I didn't. So yeah, there's that. Next, what I wanted to talk about was Friday night. Okay, so this is interesting. And I didn't stop it. So Friday night had a long week at work. It was great. It was fantastic. I'd started a new role about a month ago, and I'm really starting to feel my stride and get into the swing of things. This week was just in particularly busy. Had a lot of things I had to do. Again, nothing bad, nothing bad. But I was feeling it. Friday afternoon, I took a nap because boy, did I need one. And when I got home, or I was home already. When I got up from the nap, I started watching the disc golf tournament that was on, and my thought was, man, I just want to relax. Hey, you see Chopper back here? Chopper just wants to relax too. Anyway, I just want to relax, and my first thought was, oh, let's get some food. Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing, except the food that I wanted to get, not so much. And I noticed that, I wanted to unwind, I wanted to relax. Why does my thoughts turn to food? Why do I have to go to food? Well, it's a well-worn path, right? Like that's what I've done for years. How old am I? Long time. Long time. So I found myself, so I use Instacart because it's very convenient or because I'm lazy. You pick. Going to the grocery store, that's also a challenge. That's a whole other story. Instacart is a little bit less of a challenge, although it kind of creates a whole other challenge, which is an interesting topic. But anyway, I said, you know what? I'm just going to let this play out, and we're gonna talk about it on the podcast because this is real life. This is what I struggle with. This is what I struggle with. So it was the end of the week. I said, okay. Instacart pulled it up. Said, all right, what do I want? Oh, let's get some fried chicken because Publix has fried chicken. Ooh, let's get some fried chicken. Put that in the cart. What else can we get? Ooh, let's get a carrot cake. It's a bar cake. It's about that big. It's not a whole entire cake. Oh, yeah, let's get that. Oh, you know what? What do we want before that? Let's get some Cheetos. All right, let's drop that in the cart. Oh, might get some apples, though, because I need those for the next day, because we're not going to do this 2 days in a row. The rule of two, not going to make two bad decisions in a row. Wasn't the greatest suggestion, wasn't the greatest idea. And I could have not done it. I probably could have avoided it. But I wanted to talk through it. And so maybe that was an excuse to do it. You can decide. I don't know that I need to decide, other than I wanted to talk about it. So, got through the end of the day, or I ordered it. I'm sitting there watching my disc golf tournament, and the food got here. Now, thankfully, they were out of fried chicken, so that didn't come. Ended up having some kielbasa instead for dinner instead of fried chicken. Marginally better, maybe, probably not. Not much better anyway. But I opened this bag of Cheetos and went to town on the bag of Cheetos. I didn't finish it, thankfully. It was a party size, so if I finished it in one sitting, that was going to be a problem. But I definitely just sat there for a while and Cheetos, that Cheetos and Wavy Lays in particular, two foods that definitely were on the binge item. Did I binge these? I wouldn't say that I did. Did I overeat them? Yeah, I definitely overate. I ate more than a serving for sure, without a doubt. But I was trying to be very mindful as I was eating. I was like, how does this taste, first of all? Because I haven't had those in probably 3 3 months, 5 months. It's been a while. It didn't taste good. And that's one of the things I learned in, I think it was therapy or it was at fat camp, but really trying to associate how I feel after eating something. Because often, oh yeah, I think it was at fat camp. Because oftentimes after a binge, you feel terrible. It doesn't feel good. And so I was trying to do that with this. It's like, okay, well, again, it wasn't a binge. I definitely overate. How did I feel? I didn't like it. I was like, man, this isn't pleasant. This isn't as enjoyable as it used to be. So you know what I did? I threw the rest away. I know, it's wasteful. I apologize for it. It was that, or I was going to eat the rest of it at some point that this weekend, and I didn't need that for that to happen. So did that, and then had my kielbasa, and then came the carrot cake. I didn't. So this carrot cake, and you know what? I may actually put a picture of it up here. It's a bar cake, and it's not so much about the cake for me. It's the frosting. The frosting is ridiculous, and it's sweet, and sugar, man. Sugar tastes really damn good. I like it. And so I'd eat the frosting off the cake. God, that sounds so embarrassing to say. I sat there and I ate the frosting off the cake. That's actually the sweet thing. I said this a couple of weeks ago that I wasn't ready to talk about it a couple episodes ago. Well, there you have it. That's the struggle. Again, it's not even the cake part. Meh, take it or leave it. It's the icing. But I thought what was interesting about the whole experience was I just had a great week. I did pretty well eating. My body weight had fluctuated. I think I talked about this in episodes. I'd gotten down to 355. It ballooned up to 363 over a couple of days. It was definitely water weight. There wasn't a binge or that big of a calorie increase. So my body, hey, there's Maggie. She's making sure she keeps us safe from all the neighbors and squirrels and leaves. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Anyway, I have no idea what I was talking about. Oh, my body weight had fluctuated. But I do notice that with sugar, my body feels bloated. And that was something that I was clocking after I ate that cake. Like, man, this feels terrible. Especially after a week of solid eating. It feels terrible. So that's something that I'm trying to call on when I want to order, is to remember how I felt after eating it. I feel terrible. I don't feel good after eating it. So I need to remember that. So that was my Friday night. That was it. That was the struggle. Not proud of it. Yeah, not proud of it, but that's the struggle. That is the challenge. And nighttime, it's always nighttime. Like, I can do pretty well eating wise for breakfast and for lunch, and now dinners are becoming a lot better. But if I don't have something that I'm doing, if I don't replace that with contrary action, as they would say in AA, I think, then that battle with that comfort food, that sweet, it's either a cake or ice cream, one of the two. Whew, man, that could be a struggle. So yeah, there you go. That was real. Let's now shift to how are we aiming for better next week. We'll do that real quick, and then we'll hop into talking about working out. All right, welcome back. This segment of Aim for Better. What am I going to do to aim for better this week? I feel like I'm a broken record because some of these things are the same that I tried to do last week, except a little bit different. My goal again this week, no sweets, specifically no cake and ice cream. Cardio, we talked about this already. I'm going to do it at least once, and I don't mean by disc golf. Disc golf doesn't count, although it counts, it doesn't count. Sauna, instead of 3 times I tried last week and I did 0, I'm going to try 2 times. Maybe I should be more specific about what days I'm going to do it. Maybe Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday and Thursday sauna days. That might be cool. Oh, yeah, don't weigh myself into the end of the week. I failed. I failed at that last week. I weighed myself Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. Just so curious how the food and the workouts are affecting me. I didn't let myself off the hook this time and eat poorly, so I think I might be okay with that. But I'm going to keep that on there as an aim for better for this week. So that wraps up Aim for Better. We are now going to transition into talking about working out. Well, I'm sure we've all done it. We've all made the New Year's resolution that we are going to work out more. Well, I've made that New Year's resolution over and over and over and over and over again. And over and over and over and over again, I've failed. But something's changed. Something has shifted. Something has worked, I guess you could say. And I have been able to build the habit of working out. But it hasn't been easy. And it hasn't been glorious. It hasn't been, oh, hey, I woke up and I'm going to go work out. And I started working out and that was that. Yeah, that didn't happen for me. For all of you who did, great, fantastic. That wasn't my case at all. Remember, I was probably 400 and some odd pounds, probably earlier this year, later this year. I was probably... Actually, I'd gotten just under. I was 395 late last year. And I like working out. I actually enjoy working out. I feel great after I work out. But man, is it hard. As we all know, it's hard to build a workout routine. There are a couple things that were making it maybe even more difficult for me. One was it hurt. And I don't mean the good kind of hurt where you're sore after you're working out, your muscles are sore because you just lifted really heavy weights, because you picked things up and put them down. That wasn't it. It just hurt physically, trying to move in different ways than I had been. You know, sitting on the couch doesn't take a whole lot of muscles. So, as a big man, it hurt. So, the pain often would keep me from working out. I also have this big mental block around. It's not really a mental block. How much do I want to get into this? Well, crap. I've already set the stage for being vulnerable, so... big mental block. So... There's an idea, and I don't know who coined it. I remember reading it in David Cantor's book, Reading the Room. That was a book on facilitation. Oddly enough, he talks about this in Facilitation book, which kind of makes sense, kind of doesn't, but anyway, that's an aside. But he talks about this idea of a childhood story, how we all have some kind of childhood story. And generally, it's, you know, the little kid inside of us who is trying to keep us safe or keep us protected from something. And for me, my childhood story is around that of avoiding pain, or said in the more positive way, wanting to be comfortable. And what I always assumed the cause of that was the death of my brother, which it is actually related to the death of my brother. But it wasn't that day. That day was definitely traumatic. I mean, don't want to go back there. But as we did therapy, specifically EMDR, which if you've never done, highly, highly, highly recommend. It sounds crazy, but there's something about the eye movement and the brain reprocessing that works. I can't tell you how or why it works. I was a psych major and I was skeptical, but holy crap, am I a changed man after that. Anyway, after doing some EMDR, we hit on, I don't know if it was a memory or a thought, or I don't even know how to categorize it, but there was a specific scene that played in my head of me having to go back in the room that my brother and I shared after he died and him not being there. And if you remember if you remember seeing a cartoon when somebody's trying to push somebody into a room and you can see them like spread eagle on the door frame with their legs and arms out like, no, I won't go. That was the picture in my mind, and just the thought of having to go back in there when he wasn't there was fill in the blank. I don't even know what words you would put in there. But ever since that time, and I don't even know that actually ever happened either. That's just the way that my brain processed it, or was reprocessing it. But what makes sense though is this idea of this childhood story of comfort or avoiding pain, and that's why for me working out, because it was such a physical pain. Literally, my knees were hurting, my back was hurting. I was carrying so much weight. It hurt. It didn't feel good. And it was a gigantic mental block for me. This story of pain, or story of wanting to be comfortable, is something I fought. I didn't even realize I was fighting until recently, for my entire life. And it explains so many decisions that I've made, so many struggles that I've had, that it makes complete sense now. So I say all that to say, it's hard. Like, getting into that habit, it's not an easy thing. There's a lot of blocks. There's a lot of challenges that we all have. Look, I'm not unique in this. I know I'm not unique in this. I know a lot of us struggle with getting into some kind of healthy workout routine. But I've been able to do it for the last, I would say, this is May, 5 months. So at probably 8 to 10 months, I've been working out almost every single morning or every single day. During the winter, I maybe worked out a little bit later in the day when it was a little warmer. But I've been working out, and so much so that I've actually been building my dream gym, my dream home garage gym, which I'll put a picture up here. I'm pretty proud of it. It's pretty exciting. Thanks, Mom, for helping me put all these big old contraptions together. That was not an easy task. She also helped me paint the wall, and by help, I mean she did most of it. I definitely helped, but she did the lion's share, because she enjoys painting. I hate painting, but nonetheless, I did my fair share. Although I still don't get on ladders because ladders don't hold me very well. But anyway. So yeah, I'm building my dream home gym, and I only allowed myself to do that after I was consistently working out for a couple months routinely. And now I've got this really cool gym, and working out is a daily habit. But how did I do that? So one, the book Atomic Habits, highly recommend. I think I've talked about it before. Don't remember. I think I did talk about it with the quote, "We don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems." Well, in Atomic Habits, he talks to us. Drink break. Yes, that's a diet soda. I'm okay with drinking diet soda right now. We're not even going to go there. Atomic Habits. So, in this book, he talks about creating new habits, which is not an easy thing to do. And so there's two things in particular that he talks about that I think really helped me in doing this. One is this idea of habit stacking. Habit stacking. Say that 3 times fast. Habit stacking, habit stacking, habit stacking. Yeah, see, I can't do it. So what he talks about there, when he talks about habit stacking, is pairing a new habit with an old habit. So if there's something new that you're trying to do, can you attach that to something old that you were already doing? For example, if you want to start meditating, what if you started this is the new one. What if you started meditating after you drink your cup of coffee in the morning? After you drink your cup of coffee, you're going to start meditating. So stack it onto something that's already in place. So for working out, what was the habit that I could stack that on? There wasn't really one, to be honest. I wasn't really doing much of anything. So the habit stacking got a little bit difficult. But he talks about this idea of the 2-minute rule. And basically the genesis or the thesis, hypothesis, smallest thing of the thought. That didn't even make sense. Smallest thing of the thought? What does that mean? Anyway, what he talks about is breaking your habit down into the smallest thing. He calls it the 2-minute rule. Actually, you know what? I lied. Habit stacking did work. But the habit that I did it wasn't working out. That wasn't the one that got me going. The habit was putting on my shoes and socks in the morning. That sounds a bit ridiculous, doesn't it? Putting on your shoes and socks in the morning? Like, everybody does that. No? Not really. If you think about it, the last 4+ years, I've been working from home because of COVID. Now, granted, we're out of COVID, but I still do work from home a lot. Hybrid, go into the office and work from home. And during COVID, I would just wear sandals most of the day. I was home. What did it matter? Well, when I was thinking about habit stacking, what is something that I could pair working out with? Well, if I don't put on my shoes and socks in the morning, the odds of me working out, they go way down. Because I don't know if you skinny folks have ever experienced this, but as a fat guy, trying to put on my shoes and socks in the morning, that was a workout in and of itself. I had a big old belly. Get in my belly. I had a big old belly. And I couldn't reach my feet very easily. I couldn't reach my feet very easily. I had to sit on my bed and contort my body weirdly to even get some socks on. So I decided that the habit stacking was when I wake up in the morning and get dressed, the first thing I'm going to do is put on my shoes and socks. Well, not the first thing. Obviously, got to put the drawers on. But after I get my clothes on, I'm going to put on my shoes and socks. So that was habit stacking number 1. And that was also the barrier to entry for me working out, was that. So once I got into the routine of that, some days I didn't work out. I just put my shoes and socks on. And I thought about working out, but I didn't work out every day or at all. So that then introduces the 2-minute rule. The idea of breaking your habit down to the smallest possible thing. So in the book, he talks about if you want to start doing yoga for 30 minutes, instead of making that your habit, taking your yoga mat out, make that your habit. And then build on that. Maybe then it's, all right, you're stretching for 2 minutes. Maybe then and you start building on that. So for me, what I would do is I would get up in the morning. I would do my habit stacking. I got dressed. Good idea to do. Put on my shoes and socks. All right. That barrier to entry is now, removed. The next barrier to entry is literally the door to the garage. And there were days that I would go in there, and sometimes I would just sit on the bench. Sit on the the workout bench for 10, 15, 20 minutes. Thinking about the workout that I wanted to do, but I couldn't get myself to do. And I would go back inside. The next day, I would get up, I would put on my shoes and socks. And maybe I wouldn't make it to the garage this time. But then the next day, I said, okay, I'm gonna go to the garage. And you know what? I got my dumbbells. Let me just do something. I don't have to do a full set. I don't have to, kill myself working out. Let me just do some bicep curls. Oh man, I feel good. Yeah. Man, that felt great. Go back inside. Next day, put on my shoes and socks. Go out to the garage. Oh, that felt kind of good. What if I did a little bench press? Do a dumbbell bench press. Oh, man, that feels good. And so I continued that slowly. And there were days where I would just sit in my garage and I wouldn't work out, but I would go to my garage as if I was working out. And finally, it got to the point where the pain of working out was a little bit less. The barrier to entry, I was getting my shoes and socks on every morning. I was getting out there. I was doing a little bit more every day. I wasn't doing a full set or a full workout until probably a month or two in. But I did it. I got the habit down. And I started getting full workouts in every morning. So I share that with you as a way of encouragement of when you're thinking about how you can get to working out. The idea of Atomic Habits. I highly recommend the book. Pick it up. The second thing that really helped, and I'm going to briefly talk about this because this episode is getting long, but I want to talk about the idea of identity change. I'm talking about your mind, how you identify who you are. And specifically, I'm talking about this in terms of working out. So what do I mean by identity change? So I got this from Lane Norton, hashtag BioLane or at BioLane, I believe is his Instagram thing. I'll put that either in the description below or I'll link it up here, maybe both. But BioLane, he's a PhD in something. He's super smart. Super great guy, too. He busts a lot of myths. If you don't follow him on Instagram, highly recommend it. He'll bust a lot of these stupid influencers that are talking nonsense, which is super fantastic. Like the idea that diet soda can kill you. He busts that myth. Anyway, but he talks about identity change, and he talks about how if you want to work out, or in this case, if you want to lose weight, it can't just be something you do for a period of time. It requires an identity change. And for me, when I was thinking about identity change, I really had to get out of my mind that, oh, this is something I'm just going to do for a period of time. Like, I'm going to hit the gym hard for, 6-8 months and I'm going to lose 100 pounds and then I'll go back to doing whatever it is I was going to do. No, that's not an identity change. The identity change is, this is my new life. I am a fitness guy now. I am a guy that works out. I am a guy that enjoys working out. I am a guy that enjoys eating healthy. And so I actually had to journal about this. I have a journal. I don't journal every day, but I try to journal frequently. And for months, I would write positive identifying statements about myself. I enjoy working out. I am a fitness guy. I am somebody who is active. I am fill in the blank. And just reinforcing that this isn't just something I'm doing. It's not something for a season. This is my life. This is my new identity. This is how I'm living. And I'll tell you what, I think about working out differently now. There have been days where I get up in the morning and for whatever reason it's a busy morning and I'm not able to work out right at my normal time. But later in the day, I said, oh, I got to get that workout in because, man, I'm a guy who works out. Like, this is a non-negotiable. This isn't something that I just do if I can. No, this is part of my life. I work out now. Unless I'm in Texas and am afraid to go to the gym, but that's a whole other story. Evidently, my identity only works in my house. I guess we need to work on my identity on the road. But again, that's a whole other story, and we're not tackling that right now. We're tackling the house because that's where I live. Anyway, identity change. So I encourage you. So those are two things. When you are working on a new habit, I highly recommend the book Atomic Habits. Habit stacking, we talked about that. We talked about pairing an old habit with a new habit. And we talked about breaking your habit down into the smallest thing. For me, it was putting on my shoes and socks in the morning. Once I got that habit down, then it was just getting in my garage, sitting in my garage, whether I worked out or not, getting in the garage every morning. All right, folks. Well, there you have it. That was episode 6, where we talked about my week that was. I shared some things that I struggled with. Please be kind in the comments. Not easy necessarily talking about that stuff. But again, this is real talk. This is real life. I was listening to a podcast. I think it was Armchair Expert. And they were talking about food. And one of them were talking. Actually, it might not have been that one. It might have been the other one. I don't remember. Anyway, they're about like, nobody talks about this stuff. Well, here you go. Here's me talking about it. Here's me being real. Here's me being open and vulnerable. So thank you for listening. Thank you for liking and subscribing. That's important. I know that helps the algorithm. I don't understand how it works. Hopefully I'll understand it one day. But yeah, let's talk about how we always wrap up the show. Aim for better. I want to know, how are you going to aim for better this week? What are you going to do that's going to help you improve? Are you going to go for a 5-minute walk? Are you going to have a cucumber instead of a Twinkie? What are you going to do to be better, a little bit better this week than you were last week? How can you improve just a little bit, just a little bit better? I would love to hear about that. Drop me a like, drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. All right, folks, until next time, keep putting one foot in front of the other. Keep fighting the good fight. You can do this. There's hope. Just be a little bit better today than you were yesterday. Till next time, friends.